January 19th. The hunting season has ended. We're going to come in and do some post-season scouting, a little bit of photography. I'm going to try to get some wildlife footage. I haven't walked very far back in here yet, but I already got on some sign right here. The deer have been coming in here and feeding on these oak tree acorns, it looks like. Rooting around in there. A little bit of deer sign. Definitely eating on them acorns. You see they got these husks down here. Hanging out right in here. Didn't take long to get into some sun. Super crunchy today. But my plan in here is to go in here with the snow on the ground. Really investigate. See if I can't figure out what the deer in this area are doing. Log that information for next year. Definitely seeing tons of sign in this area. Good trail going right up through there. Pretty certain it's coming back in this thicket to bed. Obviously they got a little feed in here. It is a balmy 16 degrees. Move around in here, we might be able to spot some deer and maybe get some footage and learn something. That's my goal for this mission, is to learn something. So we're going to go ahead and keep trekking back this way and see what happens. So, this is I kind of knew this, hunting this year. But you'll see I got a really great trail coming up this drainage. And those deer, they'll run right across the flats now that the lake is down. I got a good sign coming up in here. I'd be willing to bet. I mean, unless they've already pushed out, because there's no way to be quiet on this stuff. But, you can see where deer have been coming up these drainages pretty regular. Go up here into bedding just below the campground. Here's a pretty heavily used deer area right here. See a couple beds down that way. Definitely using these drainages. Just good to get down in these beds and see what the deer see. I've been eating on these bur oaks. Some bur oak acorns right there. Just keep side hilling around through here. I'll keep my wind blowing towards the lake. And then when I get around that cove, I'll just make this circle and try to keep my wind. I mean, my wind's going to be blowing up on that point, but I also want to get back in here. There's public land that goes further to the west. And I was on the last day of deer season. I scouted back that way. I hunted back over there, I should say. And, never did see any deer. I didn't see very much bucks on that side. Definitely not as much as what I see further back these ridge lines. A little early for sheds, but maybe it would be nice to find some sheds. Heavy deer, I tell you, right here. Oh man, look at that. Look at that trail. Trail, bedding. Here is a prime bedding area. And multiple times coming in from my evening hunts, I jumped up deer right in this area in the evening. I mean, I did in the morning too. But my morning hunt, my last morning hunt, the last hunt of the year, I headed west down this trail, just trying to keep my eyes peeled for deer. And when I settled in back here by these white oaks and bur oaks, I settled in right there to wait on daylight, and I heard deer around me. I heard deer move past me, and then I eventually saw them when I left, when I was done hunting for the day. So look at this, prime bedding area. I'm thinking next year, right in here is going to be somewhere I'm going to be focusing on in the mornings. I might even try to kind of stay back that way and not push so hard on them. And I know that they come in higher up the hill, but I really like this spot for morning hunting. I mean, there is good feed. There's a good white oak right there. I feel like this is prime doe bedding area. Remember that, beds all over this. Loaded. Moving on. So I'm going to say that this is a very, very heavy feed point for the deer. I'm seeing droppings everywhere. All over. Lots of young juvenile beech trees in here. You see they've browsed off the top of some of that stuff. Tons and tons of poop piles in here. Young cherry, hickory, shagbark hickory. There's a bed. There's a bed. And you see how there's no snow here? And if you look down the bank, there's hardly any snow on the bank either. And that makes me think that the deer are just absolutely tearing this up. That looks fresh. I probably jumped deer out of that bed when I walked back in here. Another critical bedding point here. Now that I see that, I almost think I kind of want to scout back that way. But my wind is going to be blowing. If I go that way, all my wind's going to be blowing into that other stuff I'm going to eventually make my way into. I'm thinking my best bet, and this is what I really wanted to do my last day of hunting, but my best bet would be to go down this way, try to stay on the edge of the lake and just kind of pop up. Or just watch the ridge lines as I go, just quietly get up to the top of one and look to the next one, and then make my way in a circle, and eventually my wind will be blowing and I'll be able to scout that side. Well, I'm sitting here glassing this opposite ridge line before I took off, and I just found the strangest thing over here. I'm definitely going to have to go check this out. Well, I guess that helped me make my decision. I'm going to try to cross here. But with nothing else. Being out here gets you a chance to see stuff like this. Problem is, I kind of figured this was going to be mostly bedding anyways. And I mean, I just confirmed it, so. The way I hunted this in the late season was I hunted up on this ridge, trying to catch them coming from the private down to feed on the red oak flats and come down onto this lake, which I cannot for the life of me, unless it's just for travel purposes. I don't necessarily know why they enjoy being out here on this lake so much. We can just find a shallow spot here. Hello dear, I'm down here. Yeah. That's a good way to sneak up. Right here. Oh boy, I fucked up. Well, that was a poor idea. I feel like I can get across that. But right there, there's a mystery hole. I don't really know how deep it is right there. There it is. Oh yeah. Nailed it. Look at that. Look at that. Fucking tire. I read this creek is from all the iron ore in the water. Look at that. Kind of pretty against that white background. Check that out. Well, for those of you who are unaware, erecting a structure like this and messing out here, especially leaving this cordage and the tarp, all that, this is not allowed on state ground. Leaving your lawn chairs out here. Look at that. Look at that. Carving the tree up, look at that. I'm gonna be careful turning around in here too much because you just never know. Unfortunately, you're liable to find dirty needles or anything. Well, that being said, this is a kind of a cool little structure, but make sure you take your trash back out of the woods. Try to leave the woods as you found it. I know you think, what'll it hurt, but I mean, that cordage, that could be ingested by some animal or something, and you just please leave the woods as you found it. Or better than you found it. Talk about a view though. Look at this. This will 100% kill this tree. There's my first bit of buck sign I found. But I haven't really been back this far, out this far on this point. I've always been more that direction, so this was a good opportunity for me to check this out. A hedge and white oak. This looks like a good feeding area. Really open though. Really, really open. Kind of thick right through here. I mean, a little bit thick. Buck might feel comfortable coming through a spot like this. Obviously, maybe more of a night spot. So I do see a little bed right here. It looks like. That's really about all the sign I see, though. Keep moving. So, I was up here, glassing these ridge lines, trying to see if I couldn't find something on this south-facing slope. I got the wind blowing to the south. So I'm trying to make a big circle down into the public, and then come back on that west side of the public. And that way, going back out, I'll have my wind with me to check more of the north end bedding stuff. But as I was sitting here glassing, I just knew I almost overlooked these two beds. If you come here and look at this, this is a smaller deer. The trail that I walked in is actually over on that ridge line. I was coming up over there. Now I'm thinking, I was probably busting deer out of here pretty regular, but I was always watching this hillside pretty hard too. And I've never seen anything jump up. That doesn't mean they didn't hear me or smell me. I mean, I was always hunting it with my wind in this direction, so they more than likely would have smelled me. See where its legs was, laying here watching out that direction. And then right here, now I'm looking, I see multiple beds. This is a bigger deer. Yeah, this is good bedding right here too. North wind. So if a deer laid here and watched, but they want to watch that ravine, is what I'm thinking. So this is probably their south wind bedding. Wind coming over this side from the lake. They can lay here and watch this way and see anything trying to come from that direction. Good stuff. Finding some good intel out here. I keep pushing. Well, this is officially the farthest I've made it scouting on this property. Right over this edge, over on that other hillside there, is where I was hunting that white oak feeding area, and I had a big herd of does come in from here at one point. And I'm already seeing good things. I found a couple of rubs, and I see a big rub over there that I'm going to end up coming back to investigate. But right now what I want to do is try to go up this hillside, up through this drainage kinda, go up on this point, come around, see if I can't catch anything bedded on them south facing slopes. And I'm going to make a big circle. I'm definitely not going to, I don't have enough time to do all of it today, but I'm at least going to to be able to figure out a lot more. I'm seeing a lot of good deer sign right in this area here. I've done a couple drives. I mean, there's still more sign, I think, on that ridge that I was hunting than what I'm seeing here. And there's definitely more feed over there than what I'm seeing here. But I am seeing something. Back here, found a pretty nice bedding area. I'm coming up on this transition right here to like a cedar and hedge thicket. And so I come up here, get into pretty nice converging trails. Good transitionary line, bedding area, and this hedge thicket. I about guarantee you, as I dive into this thicket and try to start making my circle back around, I'd say I'm going to start encountering some deer. Especially if I keep pretty quiet. I feel like I'm already starting to get into some pretty nice rubs here. Rubs, poop. Oh yeah, I like this little row right here. I'm thinking I need to turn, kind of, I don't know, I'd like to get a little deeper, maybe go to that hillside and kind of work my way back around. That's my plan anyways. He rubbed that one down. Here on the edge of this, coming out of this thicket. They like to come right out of that thicket just a little bit. That's the way this whole property is. They just they come 5 or 10 yards out of the thicket, make a couple rubs, and bounce right back in. And I think what I'm discovering is that my hunting needs to be focused towards them heading to find sanctuary out on the private. So I'm kind of trying to combine all of that. I know they obviously are bedding out here in the public. I'm finding bedding spots. But this is also a completely different scenario here. Like this piece of public, if I wanted to, I could walk all the way to the dam. Miles down through here. There's more back there. There's just so much, and I have only begun to scratch the surface back here, and I was already getting into good signs. Look, there's some fresh tracks right there. Just have to try to move along as quiet as we can. Of course, we're not hunting. I'm just wanting to take some pictures. Beautiful. Beautiful out here. Big old white oak feed tree right there. I bet that's oh man, I love this spot right here. Right as I enter this hedge thicket. I got that rub I found right on the entrance. Big white oak feed tree right here. A spot a buck would definitely probably daylight. And I see another rub right up here. Oh yeah. Probably get up in this hedge right here on that back side so I could shoot right through that gap in the limbs or over on that other side, or maybe even just set up right in that white oak. Bunch of opportunities. That maple over there, good prospect for a saddle tree. Anything up high, I feel like I'm gonna run the risk of silhouetting myself. But if I put myself maybe like if I put myself right in that hedge, like where if they were on top of the hill, we'd be eye level, but anything that comes through here would definitely be in the kill zone. Definitely another spot I'm gonna mark on the map. Well, I found somebody's deer stand here. Really, really great spot. I don't blame them at all for putting a deer stand here. That being said, this thing is jacked. I'm not going to say where we are, but if this is your ladder stand out here on public land, one, I don't see no name tag or nothing on it, so they will confiscate it. Two, you need to come fix her up. Great spot though. Great spot though, buddy. Well, I just found a significant bedding area not far from that white oak feed tree. Look at this. All of this super fresh. Super fresh. All them deer. They probably smelled me forever ago. That wind's kind of blowing this way. Bed, bed, bed. Over there, bed. Look at that. I'm gonna lay right here and see everything. This is all, look, it's really, really fresh too. Great spot here. Great bedding area. I can understand exactly why the deer would choose to lay here. See everything around them and smell any danger. Yep, that wind's going right down the lake. I mean, there's no way you could get to them from this direction without them hearing you. I mean, maybe you come in with a boat and go up the hill if you have the right wind and everything. I would say they lay here. It looks like they're all laying here facing that way. Maybe I'm wrong. Great spot though. I'm for sure gonna take the time to mark this one on X. Maybe do a little bit of glassing while we're here in this bed. I wish I had more time to explore more of this. Alright, keep moving. Nice spot. Nice bedding area. Now this, in my opinion, and I'm not an expert or anything, but this seems to be like a buck bed to me. Up on this ridge, kind of away from the feed. Thick right in these briars. He lays, let's see if I can, it looks like he lays just like that. Or you can watch all through this thick stuff. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this is buck bedding. Any thoughts on it, leave it in the comments. I'm always willing to learn. I'm definitely not an expert. I'm learning more and more stuff about chasing these deer every day. So by all means, correct me if you disagree. Another bedding area. Couple more beds over there. Well, at least this trip has helped me to identify a ton of their little bedding hiding holes. I try to make my way down around back towards the private and then run that border of the private back. Finding a small amount more buck sign. Kind of got out of the buck sign there for a minute. Well, lots of bedding, but I kind of got out of the rubs and the scrapes. But on my return trip, I'm going to be going by all the rubs and scrapes that I know are existing. Following this deer trail out. Just kind of seeing what they're doing. This trail is heading up into this cedar ridge. I haven't seen much for like browsing, maybe a little bit right there. Still have yet to encounter a deer, but I mean, I guess I'm not surprised. Like I said, I come in here with the wind kind of at my back. Look at this. This is a good spot. Pershing trail coming up through here. Trail coming through there. Right here on this ridge. Just lacks buck sign. These all look like semi-smaller tracks too. There definitely ain't no sneaking up on nothing today. Now we're talking. Scrape right out of a rub right there. Nice rub right there. It's funny, I started talking about the lack of buck sign, about how this little section right here looks so good. Probably eating in these cedars right now with the snow on. Good spot right there. Tucked back right in one of them cedars where they couldn't skyline you. Get you moving along the edge of this thicket. And just like I'm walking now. Bed right there. Right here. You got him a tree broke over. Now we're getting back into some buck sign. Property line's over there. But probably got another bed there. That buck sign kind of ends up here on this plateau. There's a couple more beds. I think I'm gonna kind of go around. That's all pretty fresh. There's a bed right there. up towards my hunting area. Here's a couple of these big white oaks they're feeding on. Big white oak here. A couple big white oaks here, definitely getting browsed around still. That's something I really wasn't. Now I just went through an area of cedars back there. I mean, it was just a bunch of trails, not really much for any buck sign or nothing. But deer sign was all over it. Whew, I kind of got turned around a little bit. Ended up going down one of the trails in the wrong direction. I had to backtrack some. But we're back on the right track now. We're going to check some of the spots I know have fresh, hot buck sign. They're towards the end of the season. We're just going to do a watch over here into the private. Covered quite a bit of ground today. We're just going to keep up with our return trip, scout our way out. Then when we get out of here, we'll see if we can look at it, what we learned so far, and kind of put some pieces together. Help us formulate a plan for next year. Look at that. They've been tearing up under that hickory. In my late muzzleloader hunt, I had a big fat-bodied 4-pointer come in, and I'm pretty sure this trail is the one that he come in on. Because I was set up right up in that tree there. And that buck was right here. We're all, looks like they've been in here still. Down there hunting for acorns. Red oak there. Beech tree, they've definitely been in here still. And this is where we get into all of our buck sign too. And it should be nice to find a big antler laying on the ground. Most of the buck sign is on the 2 points I was hunting there towards the end of the season. But they're also not in great spots where you think they would be daylighting. This is also where, in the late muzzleloader season I had a ton of here. Them deer come in, them does come down that hill, grazed around the direction I just came from. Come over, grazed on that hillside for quite a while. Good spot. So, I set up a couple times in the late season up on these ridges behind me, using this drainage as access. I actually seen a buck over there, and he come down through here. All of this sign, I know for 100% fact, was done in one day. Not only one day, but in the few hours that I was gone, I left through this drainage, come back that afternoon through this drainage, and there was fresh rubs all over this. So, very odd behavior, I thought. Gotta make sure I watch that hillside over there. We didn't find any sheds, and we didn't encounter any deer. But we kind of knew that going in there, that I knew I was going to be having the wind at my back on the way in. And honestly, I just ran out of time to make my circle back. I planned on going way back in there too. Whole lot more area back in there that I've also yet to scout. There's a lot of walking. A lot of walking. Well said that I did learn a lot. I would consider this a highly successful mission. I learned a ton, mainly about their bedding. This is just a great opportunity to get out there and see all the sign. I mean, good visible sign in the snow. And kind of put some pieces together on what they're doing. If I can mix the hot buck sign with just the deer travel sign and bedding areas that I found today, I'll be able to paint a really broad scope of their behavior in this area. And also, out here in this beautiful country, beautiful snow flurry like this view, you can just beat it. Cannot be beaten. I mean, you know, unless you're out west and stuff, but for us Indiana Flatlanders, Hoosier boys, we just cannot ask for anything better. It's been great. It's been a good day. Now I get to head pick up my oldest boy who's been at his mammals for the weekend and go watch him play a little bit of basketball this season. Thanks for joining me on this post-season scouting adventure. Hopefully we'll see you next time. Maybe actually get into something exciting.